Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Break the Fake, where we debunk fake news and combat false narratives. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and let's get rolling. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has taken another step towards total control. His state security apparatus now has full and direct access to information about all non-cash payments made by Russian citizens. Now, this does not just mean major transactions. It means everything. Donations to opposition channels or coffee with salted caramel. The state is moving from monitoring finances to mapping everyday life. So the body responsible for the surveillance is Rosfinmonitoring. Under the new rules, it gets direct access to transactions in the peace payment system and the central bank's fast payment system. No courts, no requests, no procedural friction. And officially, this is sold as a fight against money laundering. In reality, it is about eliminating any movement of money the state does not control. After sanctions, the peace system became virtually the only way to pay, and now is being repurposed into a civilian's backbone. Before, the state knew that you existed. Now, it knows what you eat, where you go, who you meet, and how much you spend. Big Brother is no longer watching, he's reading your bank app. Russian finance monitoring make this system especially dangerous. It is not a passive regulator, it is a law enforcement agency. It keeps a list of extremists and terrorists, blocks accounts, and holds transactions. All of this operates through the deliberately vague label of suspicious activity. Spending too much qualifies, spending too little qualifies. The standard is whatever the state needs it to be at the moment. Put together, this is a digital police state where money itself becomes evidence. Any transfer can be reinterpreted after the fact. Buy a book and interest becomes intent. Make a donation and generosity becomes a problem. Pay the wrong person and you are no longer a customer, you are a suspect. And all of this is wrapped up in the language of care, order, security, stability, but the purpose is transparent. The state wants visibility over every ruble. Because in a country where the war is financed by the population, control over money means control over people. And if belts are going to be tightened, the Kremlin wants to decide how tight and who tightens first. Russia continues to methodically manufacture an alternate reality, preferably with state funding, preferably in the series, and preferably behind glass. Now, the latest example is an exhibition in the office of the Russian Federation's ombudsman, dedicated to the so-called Azov torture chambers in Mariupol. The centerpiece is a set of shackles which Russian propaganda claims were used to chain peaceful residents of the city.
Возле этого стенда мы стоим потому, что здесь лежит один артефакт. Это кандалы с аэропорта Мариупольского, с той самой библиотеки, где пытали людей. Сейчас мы покажем. Я их лично оттуда забирала. Вот в этих кандалах пытали мирных жителей Мариуполя, пытали наших ребят с ополчения, то есть всех неугодных. Читали как книгу. То есть почему это библиотека? Да, потому что там людей пытали до последнего, чтобы их прочитать. Узнать информацию необходимую и так далее. То есть человек — это книга.
These exhibitions serve a very familiar purpose: mirror propaganda. Russia takes its own war crimes and tries to pin them on Ukraine. Torture, illegal detention, filtration camps. The logic is primitive and reliable. If you repeat it, it was them often enough, someone might forget who actually destroyed Mariupol, built filtration points, and tortured civilians. The shackles fit the story nicely, no context required. The fabrication of crimes committed by the armed forces of Ukraine is not an improvisation, it is state policy. Exhibitions like this are not about the present, they lay the groundwork for the future. Today, shackles in an ombudsman's office, tomorrow a documentary, the day after a solemn speech on an international stage. And the same line every time: here's the evidence, we warned you. At the same time, while chains are being polished for display, Ombudsman Tatiana Moskalkova tells a Russian state news agency TASS that she has received nearly 500 complaints about people allegedly repressed in Ukraine for pro-Russian views. The number is impressive. Of course, there's no verification, but it sounds solid. And in this genre, how it sounds matter more than proof. The goal is not accuracy, it's scale.
Да, действительно, на территории Украины находится большое количество граждан России, подвергнутых репрессиям в виде уголовного преследования, уголовных наказаний. Это и священники, и журналисты, и правозащитники, и просто обычные гражданские люди, которые волю судьбы находились на территории Украины. Некоторые занимались торговлей, какой-то общественной работой. К сожалению, пока не удается договориться о такой взаимной репатриации, поскольку обмен гражданскими лицами не предусмотрен международными нормами и правилами, а мы говорим о взаимной репатриации, но единичные возвращения уже есть. Мы надеемся, что будет продолжаться диалог, завершающийся пониманием и взаимным, может быть, возвращением таких людей.
And of course, the result is familiar. Russia wages war, Russia destroys cities, Russia tortures civilians, and then Russia opens a museum and points at Ukraine. This has nothing to do with memory or justice. It is about flooding the space with noise, where lies are framed as exhibits and responsibility vanish behind glass. One thing never changes: when Russia runs out of truth, it will always find chains, and it will always call them evidence. So, Alexander Lukashenko has decided to personally vouch for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. In an interview with American journalist Greta von Susteren, while commenting on drug trafficking to the United States, the Belarusian leader assured everyone that Maduro has nothing to do with drugs. Quote, "Maduro is not a drug addict. I know that for sure," Lukashenko said, confidently, definitively, without bothering with evidence.
И приняли вы бы президента Мадуро в Беларуси в случае его отставки?
Мадуро не был никогда нашим врагом и противником. Никогда. Если бы он пожелал приехать в Беларусь, двери для него здесь открыты. Но об этом никогда, искренне вам говорю, никогда не было речи. Мадуро не тот человек, который все бросит и уйдет, убежит. Это крепкий человек, это чавист. Это как Чавес. Он крепкий мужик, порядочный, вменяемый человек, с которым можно разговаривать и договариваться. Я не просто убежден, потому что я его знаю, можно сказать, с детства. Поэтому вот эти все досужие разговоры, я вижу их журналистов на тему того, что вот мы с Мадуро договорились, что он уедет в Беларусь и тут будет жить. Никогда, Грета, на эту тему с Мадуро мы не разговаривали. Мы больше с американцами по поводу Венесуэлы, если уж откровенно говорить, разговариваем, нежели с Мадуро по поводу там его отставки и каких-то действий. Это героический мужик.
Не думаете ли вы, что президент Мадуро лично заинтересован и занимается наркотрафиком в США?
У вас таких фактов нет, и у меня тоже. Не думаю, что это так. Мадуро не наркоман, это я знаю точно.
Separately, Lukashenko commented on rumors about Maduro possibly moving to Belarus. He said he would be happy to welcome him, although officially no such request has been made. Still, the willingness alone says a lot. Minsk had long been a comfortable stopover for leaders with sanctions, legitimacy problems, and an uneasy relationship with reality. If needed, there will be a place, and tea will be served. See, the picture is familiar. This is how authoritarian diplomacy works. One leader publicly guarantees the personal purity of another based in part on his own certainty. No facts, no checks, just straight face. In a world full of investigations, reports, and intelligence agencies, Lukashenko's offer a simpler standard. I know. And in this circle, that apparently settles everything. Because here, confidence counts as proof and loyalty weighs more than facts. And with that, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.